Welcome back to the 2023 FVC Summer Series, round 8 of 9, taking place at the Mexican circuit of the Autodromo Hermanos Rodriguez. Drivers report saying today it is going to be a dry race all the way through, both in qualifying and the main race. And only 13 drivers with us today, as the release of F122, or F123, sorry, has taken a couple of our drivers away. But we are going to be finishing up the season on this game, and our next games will be on the new one, or the next season, sorry, will be on the new one. A couple of cars coming out already, the McLaren of Carbon, as well as what looks to be an AlphaTauri of Curly. Indeed it is. In fact, Azzy already retiring from the session. She did say after winning the Drivers' Championship she will be starting from the back of the grid for the final two races of the season. Going to be a bit of a long wait for her. Possibly might have been a good idea to head out on track to do some final practice, but I am not the one to control that. Also going out on the track is going to be the Mercedes duo of Thunderbird and D765, and the Alfa Romeo of Blah as well, heading up behind them. We'll wait for the drivers to navigate around this, what is frankly a very high-speed circuit, a very straight line. Why don't we take a quick look at our previous pole positions that have happened at this track. Season 4 was taken by Scarly42, who is driving with us today. Unfortunately, she did not finish that race, crashing out in the middle or ending portion. I can't right remember. I was in that race, I definitely should, but fortunately I do not. Then, Season 2, the first time this track was used on the calendar. It's only the third time we've had a race here in the main series. Season 2, pole position was taken by the Ferrari driver of Ryan Joyce. Heading on back, taking a look at the broadcast again, let's jump on board with Carbon, navigating its way around the very tight and technical final sector of this track before coming onto the long straightaway. Getting a confirmation Scarlett DNF'd on the final lap of the race from Apex. Welcome on in, not doing quality to save tyres, mega mind move. Well, there's the answer from Azzy in the chat as to why not heading out to the final practice. 3.5 seconds with the total lead Scarlett had. Let's jump on board, focusing on Carbon's qualifying lap now. DRS zone between the final and the first corner, as well as just after the first chicane section. Then hard braking out into another couple of 90-degree corners, left and then right. Don't want to hit the curbs too much on the inside, you can upset them, they are big, and then heading into the hairpin of turn 6. Around this section, you need to be careful of that right-hand curve. That is where Scarlett did drop it during Season 4. Very easy to spin the cars both on that game and this. However, Carbon navigates perfectly now through the final DRS zone of the circuit. Purple middle sector, not surprisingly, the only driver so far. Yellow flag in the middle sector for one of the Aston Martins. That's going to be Pixels, the only one in the session currently. As well as one of the Alpines, by the looks of it, also coming into bother at the same area. Finding the final corner, keeping close to the wall. It's a 118.133 to set the pace from Carbon. Let's head over to Curly in the AlphaTauri, see if he can put up any chance. It's not going to be any chance though. It's an invalidated lap for the AlphaTauri driver. He's going to have to go again. He wants to challenge anything. Heading to pit lane though, to avoid anything. Pixels is going to be next up to start an out lap. Let's jump over to the Mercedes, who are the next ones up. It's an invalidated lap for Thunderbird, but up comes next is D765. Season 5 champion, can't win it this time. It's a 117.518 for the Mercedes driver. If you want to join me in the commentary booth, Azzy, you are more than welcome to. I believe you do have the ability to join up outright, but if not, I will drag you in. The yellow in sector 1 for a slow-moving Alfa Romeo of Blah, who actually took pole position. I wasn't looking when that popped up. It's a 117.062. And then Broughton with a 117.054. It's very close up at the top. Welcome on into the booth, Azzy.
Hello, it's time to do some commentary.
Indeed, for all of the next 13.5 minutes before the race.
See, we're seeing Thunderbird out on wets. I forgot that I was going to do a lap on wets just for fun with him, but it's good to see he's sticking up to his end of the promise there.
Indeed he is. He's definitely not having a good time with the track limits, running off multiple times and validating the lap.
No, he is pulling off the perfect Ferrari strategy here, to be fair, you know, so kudos to him. He's getting really into the immersion, except he is in a Mercedes. Then again, well, with the 22 Mercedes pace, it's probably not far off with those tyres.
No Ferrari's currently on track, so he's doing his best impression in any way he can.
Seeing Scarlett is out on wets as well.
have to deal with a quick issue in the chat.
No worries at all. I'll just
there we go.
say as Broughton is currently on pole. Very good lap from him with Blah in second, only 8,000ths of a second, sorry, behind. This is already a very close qualifying, as we've seen in the past few races.
It is. It's always a very competitive. At least they try and be as competitive as they can. There are some areas of the grid that are very close to each other, round on round, but there is other areas, such as yourself, that are much faster than the rest of the grid at times too.
To be fair, the past few qualifying sessions that I've done, it's been very close, if not too close for comfort, you know, especially Silverstone losing out on pole by 3,000ths of a second with D7. Oh, was it D7 or I think it was Thunder? Sorry, yeah, it was Thunder I lost out to. You know, he's a rapid driver. It's good to see him out here again, standing in. You know, I'm also thinking, I think we're going to see a Pixels Masterclass this race.
Well, we can only have to wait and see. There's 11.5 minutes left. Only 4 drivers at the time on the board, but 2 of them are on wets. Thunderbird is asking you if you are wanting to go, or if he wants to go on to the intermediates next, to try and set a lap on them.
Do whatever your heart desires, Thunder. Do whatever your heart desires. Have fun out there. You know, do a few skids if you feel so inclined.
Also joining us in the booth is going to be Apex as well. I see him in here. Welcome on in.
Hello, hello. How are we doing on this fine Thursday evening?
We've got our own Rosberg here. He's currently talking to us from his villa.
Over in Portugal.
Yes,
Heading into 5th place is going to be Scarlett on the wets with a 1:39.83.
Yes. But yeah, I just thought I'd pop in. Wish everyone a fantastic race today. I'm going to be watching from all the way over out here in Portugal. Hopefully later on I'll be celebrating my 7th FVC Constructors Championship win, but we'll just have to wait and see.
Celebrating like you've done the majority of the work when you just haven't.
Look,
you did not need to do it like
that. I've gotten some points.
So if we take a look at the top of the championship table.
Look, I can't lie, a few of my mates have seen the standings and they've even gone, what the fuck has he?
Look, I've been trying. It's just I don't like this game.
You were trying.
Okay, thank you.
It's okay. 23 is going to be a good one. We know it. Come on.
Yeah, 23 is feeling pretty good, so we'll just have to wait and see.
It's just F1 2020 with 22 front end. It's fine.
Yes. Yeah, I thought I'd pop in and say hello, and apparently just get absolutely slated by everyone. So I wish you all good luck. Wish you all the best.
Thank you very much.
Everyone at home, I hope you enjoy the racing, and I'll see you for the final round next week.
See you then.
I'll see you then, and thank you for your time, Apex.
One thing to note from quali so far is D7. 5/10 off of the pace out here. You know, Broughton, he's a really, really fast driver. You know, he has his quick days.
Sorry to just jump in here. I'm just watching along with Thunderbird on the intermediate tyre, setting a purple first sector. Somehow, on the intermediate tyres, it's a purple first sector for the Mercedes driver. Not a time on the board yet. Still got to navigate his way around the rest of the lap. I have a feeling that time's going to be hemorrhaging down, especially in the middle sector with how many turns there is. You're just not going to be able to keep up with the slick tyre runners. And indeed, invalidating the lap through the exit of the middle sector.
Absolutely gutting for him. So what I was saying as well earlier is Broughton, once again, up there on the times. You know, he's a very rapid driver, but I think his biggest weakness is inconsistency. You know, he's absolutely stunning, you know, can definitely keep me on my toes quite a bit, but it seems he has an issue with crumbling under pressure as well. I've noticed the past 2 races that I've actually been on track with him, you know, I get behind him, fill his mirrors a little bit, and he'll spin. So I'm hoping this race, this can be a turn of tides. You know, he definitely is one of those people who can be contesting for wins. If he just gets his consistency down, puts full focus into his driving, and just doesn't think about the people around him, just focus on his own race, he could be pulling some really big points for Red Bull here.
He definitely is a very quick driver. FVC2 champion graduating up to the main series. Then again, a lot of people here are race winners as well throughout the grid. We've seen how competitive it was during Season 5, especially. Maybe a little bit easier for him, especially with you starting at the back of the grid today, but there is still a number of drivers yet to set a lap.
Yeah, I've also noticed in the chat,
Very far off track
we've
there
seen
for Rosenquist.
Broughton. He was improving on his last lap, a purple sector 1 and 2, and then invalidated the third lap. So he's possibly going to be going for a third try, maybe. Depends how his strategy is going to be going into the main race. But, you know, I'm on board with Thunder right now, setting a very lovely lap so far. You know, his ERS, though, is absolutely drained. I'm not sure if he turned it off on the outlap. He's on 6% coming around the final corner, so should be fine. What is this run going to be? He's on the inters. It's a stunning lap.
120.002.
He's somehow pulled that off.
Not sure what the tyres that Pixels had. I'll see if I can find out from the best. It was on the soft compounds that Pixels set his lap on. So Thunderbird going 0.2 of a second ahead of Pixels on a wet compound tyre, intermediate. So not for these conditions, meant to be for a very, well, not very wet, but much wetter than this.
Incredible attempt from Thunder right there. What a driver. Oh my god.
Number of drivers seem to be struggling with track limits as well. Keep jumping to people at the end of the lap, and it's all a lot of invalidated attempts. Do you think track limits will possibly cause a lot of issues for some of the drivers this week?
I think, honestly, it will, definitely. You know, Sector 3 and Sector 2, it is so easy to go off of the track. Oh, wow!
1:16.474, that's about 5.5 tenths on the board. That is about close to 6.
We do know that Broughton, he did have something up his sleeve there. He had Sector 1 and 2 purple and then invalidated Sector 3. So we could be seeing track evolution come into play here. You know, I think maybe on these third runs that we see around here, it's going to be pretty tight, you know. But Blah, again, crazy fast. So this is to be expected of him, to see him up there. Though, just to remember, this isn't really a track where you want to be on pole. You know, going into turn 1, it's such a long run down to there. It's all about, is your setup good enough? We don't know. Has Blah gone for a low downforce? Has he gone for the 0-0 wings meta? But looking at his time, I very much doubt it, because you'd be sacrificing so much time through Sector 2 and 3. You know, you make up all that time in Sector 1 with the low wings, but going into those last 2 sectors, you're going to struggle so much. You know, the fronts, they're going to overheat, especially with Park Ferme running 0-0 wings. It's all cool in a little 5-lapper, but going into a 50% race is
to the top of 1:16.320 for the Mercedes driver.
That track is getting fast now. You know, sun's coming out as well. Temps are going up. We're going to see a lot of fast laps as Matato has joined.
He's one of 2 drivers to join us through the qualifying session. I'd say there's still, what is that, about 5 drivers left? Or about 6 is going to be when Matato gets in to still set a lap. And there's not much time left, only 4.5 minutes. Watching Harrison M, though, on the wet compound tyres, another one of them.
How interesting would it be if I commentated while racing?
It would be a welcome addition to have you in here.
You know what? Let's do it. Let's do it. I'll commentate while I race. I'll give you a little point of view from a driver.
Give you a point of view from the driver. Well, we'll be sure to jump around everybody as well as keep an eye on you every so often. A large corner cut there from Harrison. I'm getting possibly off of the wet compound tyres. Wouldn't be surprised if he heads into pit lane, and indeed he does. Not much going on. I expect another couple of cars should be coming out anytime soon.
Pixels on his lap right now, opening up the DRS, reaching 200 miles an hour down this straight. You know, with the low. What's the term again for like when the air is very thin? What's that?
I'm not quite sure. I believe it is just thin air.
Oh, there's a fancy term for it, but you know what? I'm a little bit thick today, so honestly, you see the cars down here. You know, the altitude of this track is so high up in the mountains that the straight line speed as Thunderbird has retired.
I'll head over to the Red Bull of Broughton and see if we can find out how that's happened there.
Might have been Tank Slapper. Looks like, yeah, he's got it on the curb.
On the curb on the right-hand side, as I said, it's very similar to what Scarlett done back in Season 4 on the final lap of the race.
Seems almost identical, if anything, as to what's happened. You know, it's so easy. You want to attack that curb, but the issue with attacking that curb is you're just going to beach the car sometimes. You know, everyone's trying to find that little extra inch of tarmac to try and maximise that corner, because that is going to leave you with an insane run through the last few chicanes, S's. Don't know what to call him around here, but around here, that sector 2, that first sequence, the first one left, one right, that is where all the speed is built as JL Broughton goes out on his lap. Going to be on board with him, 210.11. Can we get 12 down the straight? He's running a very low downforce setup then.
Expect a lot of drivers will be. Pixel setting up into 6th place, getting ahead of Thunderbird on the soft compound tyres. I expected that to come through eventually.
0.7 of a second though, you know, I feel like this is a case of what Thunderbird could have done. Could he been contesting pole? I believe so. As Broughton's really hooking it up right now. Every apex very clean, running it a little bit close to the track limits there.
Invalidated.
Oh, was
Purple
it an
first
invalidation?
sector and invalidates. Yep. One thing I have noticed actually, there's a lot of drivers heading through what I believe is turn 3, running very wide in the exit and not getting an invalidated lap. Now we do have the rule in the rulebook that says if you exceed 75% of the limit with your car, the limit being the white line circling the track, then you are considered to be exceeding limits. As Jacobo goes up into 3rd with a 1:16.638. And also up there is going to be Blah, very close to D765 too.
Broughton, what he's doing right now, I wouldn't recommend it. You know, he's cut the whole chicane. What you want to do is when you invalidate a lap so close to the end, you got to make sure, have I got the fuel? He's on 1.1. He did not turn his engine down to lean, and he did not turn his ERS down to none. So this is going to be a very borderline lap. If he can't hook this up, that's going to be his chances of pole over. But he is going to have the lightest car at the moment, you know, 0.9 litres of fuel as he was coming down the straight. So if he's going to make it on fuel, it is questionable.
Might have to do some lift and coast. We're going to be jumping around the board though, as this is going to be really the final shots for most of these drivers, and there are a lot of them all in the same place. I think Curly is probably going to be the last one, Blah as well on the outlaps. They're going to be the final ones to get a lap in. The advantage of the most evolution, jumping around seeing who's at the front of any of these grids. Not quite sure. Heading over to Rosenquist.
Oh, I think Broughton might have just invalidated again.
I'll have to go and see as stopping on track goes Rosenquist.
Surely he
jumping
has.
Up to Broughton. Yes, he has. It's invalidated lap for the Red Bull driver.
That's
going to be his quality over. It's going to be 5th at best for him. He's not going to be able to get anything of that. Rosenquist with a 1:43. I'd expect they are going again if they can. Trying to jump over to who is next up to cross the line. It's going to be a
Salmon. Salmon made the cut.
Salmon did make the cut, and up from 7th is where he has to go. He's got to get better than a 1:17.368.
It's not possible. He's not got the ERS. He's on 11% coming down the straight.
And in the corner, he's went invalidated as well, cutting turn 1 as a stop. Turn of Carbon coming up to the first corner as well.
See Curly coming around sector 2 right now. Hooks it up very nicely. Getting a little bit of a slide coming out of it.
Purple middle sector for the AlphaTauri driver. This could be something very close up at the top if he continues the rest of the lap down.
Very nice late apex through the stadium section. That's what you want to do. Everyone thinks the tight line works. No, the late apex is the one it's slept on.
Getting it hooked up nicely to the last corner. Keeping it tight. Heading it up into a 7th place. The purple middle sector is not to be, but Blah to pole position with a 1:16.227.
Nicking it right at the end. Big shout-outs as well to Matato right now. Coming around the last few corners, is he going to be able to pull something off here?
It's an invalidated lap, so he's going to be 3rd at best. It's a 1:16.411 though, very good. Breaking the front wing, hitting the right-hand
Carbon invalidated lap, unfortunate from him. Salmon
also on an invalidated. That is going to be the qualifying over. Surprisingly, with how very little laps there were halfway through the session, everyone got a lap in except for yourself.
Unbelievable. Is this an FVC first?
Well, not quite sure. I should know these things, but I really don't pay enough attention to the F1 side. I will just be outright honest.
You are the Forza merchant of the series.
Pretty much. I've tried driving an FVC too. I wasn't very good.
Look at that, Morley. That is insane. So much action through there. Seeing, you know, Thunderbird unfortunately losing it. I think he could have actually had pole there. If his intermediate lap was anything to go by, we could have seen him in first. I'm going to be honest with you.
Indeed, he could have. Running down the grid post-qualifying ahead of the race, we got on pole, again, is the Alfa Romeo driver of Blaya. A very fast driver. He just crumbles a little sometimes under the pressure of the race. Do you think we could see something from him today?
Possibly, quite possibly. You know, again, you've got to watch out turn one, that long run. It's going to be really interesting into turn one, especially, you know, third and fourth, all the way down to eighth. They're going to be the ones in the prime slipstream position, getting so much of that tow from all these other drivers in front. They're going to want to maximize attack and send it down into turn one. Some of them might play it safe. Who knows?
My themes are not working. Give me one moment. There we go. Welcome back to the 2023 FVC Summer Series. Race time qualifying has concluded. 15 drivers join us on the grid for the second to last round of the season. Pole position taken by the Alfa Romeo driver of Blaya 5169, and second place heading to Mercedes, the Season 5 champion of D765. Running down the grid, Macedo late joining in past qualifying. Third place for the Aston Martin driver, and fourth goes to another very young to the series is the Williams of Jacobo. Fifth place, the Red Bull of Broughton. Could have got a very fast lap at the end of qualifying, just invalidated right close to the end of it all. Carbon takes 6th place, and Curly is in 7th. With 8th going to Simon Baker, 9th to Dorado, and 10th to Harrison M. 11th place heads to Pixels, 12th to Thunderbird, and 13th, 14th occupied by the Alpine duo of Rosenquist and Scarlett. 15th place heads to our current drivers champion of Azzy, who's also joining me today in the commentary booth. Going to be giving a live commentary from their position all the way through the race.
It's going to be very interesting, very fun. I don't think I've ever seen someone do a driver's POV of commentary in FVC, but you know what? We're giving it a go.
Well, it's definitely something we've not had, and it's something I've not seen throughout the rest of leagues anywhere, so it'll be definitely something unique.
Might be sacrificing a bit of race pace on this, but you know what? Let's have some fun, you know. We've had a brilliant season on F1 22 here. You know, it's the last 2 races that we are going to have on this game, so let's all enjoy it. Let's all have a ton of fun today. Absolutely bloody send it.
You've already won the championship, so there's nothing for you to lose. Heading up to the front of the grid, let's get a good view of the... Well, apart from that. Heading back up to the front of the grid to watch the race start. Blaya takes on pole position, getting a very, very straight on, but you don't really want to be pole here. It's a long run to turn 1. The people behind you are going to be getting a good slipstream all the way.
So can I bottle the lineup? Let's see. I'm bottling it. Oh, 0.1. I'm just... Oh, that felt good. That's the biggest anxiety I have all race.
But here we go. The 1, 2, 3, 4, the 5 red lights are on. Going to be a very long hold for normal. VNT Rosenquist jump start, but it's lights out and away we go. Awful start for the Alfa Romeo of Blah. D765 getting a much better launch, and Macedo already coming up. They're already going to be 3 wide. Possibly even going to be 4 wide heading into the corner, depending on how many of them stay up there trying to jump on board with the Williams of Jacobo. Looking up to the left. It'll be 2 by 2, possibly even 3 with Blah, but Macedo is clearly in the lead of this group. Heading through turn 1, the hard Aston Martin getting much better, but they're going to be 4, even possibly 5 wide behind. One of the, in fact, both of the Red Bulls, I think, were involved in that. Broughton falling a far way down the grid. Everyone else looks to be through clean. Don't see any damage. Off the track, though, goes the Williams of Simon Baker, having to hard brake, getting stuck on the curb. Around the outside of nearly 2 drivers goes yourself, Addy up into 13th. You're sort of sticking there, possibly arguing for 12th place.
This is a spicy first lap. There's so much carnage out here. Tyres, they're not feeling the best, as we've seen Rosen.
2 of them.
Oh no, I've lost my wing.
Front wing off for Azzy. Front left end plate. Gonna see if we can drag up the replay scene as virtual safety car is deployed. I still have the formation lap graphic up for some reason.
A car had spun and it didn't ghost. That is unfortunate, losing half the front wing here. It's Red's gonna have to pit here.
Pit in. It's only an end plate lost on our end from what we can see. However, it is the entire end plate gone. Apologies for having the formation lap graphic up for a bit too long. The hotkeys are just not working for me today. For everybody watching along with the stream, Broughton leading the session, and the safety car is gone. That's awful timing for yourself.
Yeah, that was a very, very quick virtual safety car. Quite surprising to see. Now it's going to be about pumping in laps, quali mode all the way through until the end here. Hopefully we get another safety car, because that has absolutely ruined my race almost.
You're already starting from last, but that is going from bad to worse for yourself. Already over with a second gap up in front, though. It's going to be the Aston Martin Macedo, but catching him slowly. The Season 5 champion is on his way. D75 trying anything he can to get a win this season. However, he's got to be careful. Carbon out behind. Another very quick driver. Has spent a lot of time out, but he's going to be trying his damnedest too. All of these drivers know this is their best chance of a win today, as well as next week, with yourself starting at the back. So They're going to be pushing harder than ever. To jump around. It's another purple
get these tires
first,
up to
purple middle
temperature.
sector for the Aston Martin Potato, jumping, trying to see anything going on. It's not been a great start for the Alfa Romeo of Blah, falling down to 5th place already, jumping aboard with Eldorado, chasing down Scarlet. .120.807, and so 125.34 for Carbon, immediately taking back the fastest lap off of the Aston Martin driver. DRS enabled on lap 3, doesn't get disturbed by a virtual safety car. Running chatter saying Azzy down in 14th. Actually an improvement from her starting position. She is joining us in the commentary booth today.
Hello everybody.
Going to be doing along with me, taking a live driver's commentary. Started down in last, intentionally that is. Trying to get up as many positions as you can. Do you think you'll be able to get a podium?
If there's another safety car, I don't see why not. Got to pray a little bit though, because you know, with the lesser number of drivers on the grid, it might be a little bit unlikely. But then again, Sector 2 is still brutal, as we've seen off the start, losing one car. You know, then a massive pile up into Turn 1 almost. You know, it's still pretty hectic out here.
Indeed it is. A number of drivers are very close together still. It is a group of 6 separated into 2 slightly. But they're all still very close together up at the front, and then there's another group further down. Seems to be a trend of about 2 or 3 cars very close to each other, all the way down to about 12th place. Anything can still happen throughout the rest of this race, and you've got to remember that we are still only heading on to lap 4. We've got all the way up to 36 to complete, so anything could happen. 120.165 for D75 taking the fast lap of the race on the hard compound tyre. The yellow flag in Sector 2 as one of the Alpines of Rosenquist has a problem into the wall. Keeps it going as also Blad disconnects from the session, falling down to 6th, Curly getting past. Back up to the front. D75 slowly chasing down that second, or that gap was over a second just a little bit earlier, but the DRS kicking in has saved D75. The Mercedes is catching up now from 310s. Might be having a look, possibly the next couple of corners. Purple first sector for the Season 5 champion. As Azzy yourself taking a 120.062 mediums for the new fastest lap of the race.
It's push mode, baby. We're going to see what we can do. You know, I've got 20 seconds all the way to
Broughton, a
Harrison.
119, the first car into the 19s. Very unstable for D75 through the middle sector, losing a chunk of time to the Aston Martin in front. But then, almost as in reverse, the Aston Martin gets a little bit unstable coming out of the corner. Thunderbird with a 3-second penalty for multiple warnings. Possibly struggling with track limits here. That long run time to turn 1 is 6 tenths per second. Sam Baker also getting a 3-second penalty for multiple warnings. Let's jump on board with the Mercedes of D75. DRS going to be all the way down the straight. You can get it if you're within a second of the car ahead of you. Trying all his might. That gap was 6 tenths per second, going to be down to about 3 tenths per second before the corner comes up. As D75 earns himself a penalty, 3-second warning is going to be detrimental to his efforts unless the Aston Martin in front can get the same. That's the wrong graphic. There we go. Bring up the penalties for everybody to see as a couple of drivers starting to get to them. We'll jump back to the battle for the lead in a second. Head down to currently 8th place. Not quite sure if Blah is able to get back into the lobby yet. That car doesn't look to be ghosted, and it doesn't seem to be driving in a way that an AI would be, so this is a proper battle for the 8th place position now. Not many points paying down here, but every single point counts throughout the season. Find any number of cars close together. This two are close as well as the cars behind. Dorado getting attacked by Sam Baker into the start of the 3rd sector. But then the inside was had, but the came of that. Let's jump up to the battle for 3rd place currently though. Jacoba getting very close to Carbon. New blood versus veteran. Jacoba heading to the inside into turn 1. Going to be side by side in the braking zone. Carbon just letting him out, letting him sweep on by, trying to get a cut back. There's another yellow flag to for what I presume is going to be Rosenquist again. Coming off of that curb. Jacobo making his way up into third place. Carbon's not going to let that go easy though. He's going to be coming right back at him. 1:19.923 for Azzy, not the fastest lap of the race. Kind of running in a bit of no man's land down there, aren't you?
I'm running a lot of a higher downforce setup here, absolutely maximising everything. So far, I haven't got a warning. We're hoping for, you know, no warnings this race. I've managed to keep a streak of no penalties throughout the season. So, you know, I'm hoping we can keep that going. I only got one penalty for track limits this season, which was Hungary, which again was entirely my fault. I got one for spinning, which was interesting, but you know, we move.
It's always the way with these automated systems. Heading around the outside, having a look at least though with Thunderbird battle with Scarlet, heading into the final sector. These two are right on top of each other, trying to look for any way past. Thunderbird did get passed by Scarlet a couple of corners ago. We jump on board 2-3 if we could follow along with this battle. Closest couple of cars on track. Number of battles warming up. Do you think possibly anything could happen into any corner in particular?
I think turn one there's going to be a bit of a tangle at some point. Hopefully, I'm hoping for a safety car still, praying even.
Turn one the most likely, do you think?
Could be. I think in sector, if someone decides to get brave and sends it side by side in sector 2, that's available.
DNF for the Alpine of Rosenquist, and that's going to be a full safety car deployed.
Heavens have blessed me.
Jumping over to the Aston Martin of Potato. I don't think we're going to get round in time to see what happened there to the Alpine of Rosenquist. Doesn't look to be in that same area as they have been spinning over the past couple of laps. However, it is in the middle sector. Indeed, it's actually a couple of corners past where Scarlet did. Not quite sure where that car is. Got cleared away just where we could see it, so not sure what happened with that accident.
I can't help but wonder if Hards will make it 28 laps or 29 laps.
Well, the only way to find out is to give it a shot. Stay up at the front and see what the leaders do in terms of pit stops. Potato doesn't carry a penalty at this current time, but the Mercedes of D75 does look to be a lot quicker. Staying out the front two, but into the pits comes Jacobo as well as Carbon. Curly up next, also heading to pit lane. Carbon, a 5-second penalty for speeding on the entry. Second Mercedes of Thunderbird decides to stay out. Heading in though goes Scarlet.
Wonder what
and the Alfa Romeo is out.
Have they decided to dive onto mediums already?
A couple of them look to be heading, I'm not quite sure, jumping over to the first into pit lane was Jacobo, which is hard compound tyre for the Williams.
We're seeing drivers jump onto hards. That's an interesting strategy.
Bring our detail over to the tyre that our drivers are on. Nobody running the soft compound tyres at this stage. Unsurprising, they are much more a push tyre than a long running tyre.
Definitely. I mean, I'm going to be sticking to my strategy here. I'm going to be pitting on around between lap 18 and 21 to go on some new mediums. You know, it has become a two-stop due to the wing damage, especially with the safety car. That has helped a lot. You know, seeing a lot of drivers that have decided to stay out or drivers that have gone in. Let me actually have a look at the race director real quick. We're seeing 1, 2, 3 drivers have elected to stay out on hard. Well, no, sorry, they pit for hard. So we're seeing Curly, Carbon, and Jacobo, but they can probably make it to the end. Broughton as well, onto hards as well now. So we could be seeing a little bit of a spicy race here between a 1-stop and a 2-stop, depending. But there's a lot of drivers who have stayed out on the hards. They believe those hards can go much further, and especially now that they've got drivers behind them on fresh hards. You know, you've got me on relatively fresh mediums. These tyres still feeling very good. I would say if I give you a tyre wear prediction, it's about 18 all around. You know, these tyres still have a lot of life left in them, considering I did lose my wing at lap 1. So 7 laps, 18%, do another 7 laps, 36%. I think it's going to be a spicy race.
Well, obviously, with yourself not doing any running in qualifying, you have the most sets of fresh tyres. You think if a late safety car comes out, you should possibly risk going onto the softs?
Depending if it comes out at the end, you know, you've got about 8 laps, 7 laps of softs worth around here, I'd say. Before they do absolutely drop off, and that's not being conservative at all. If I was to be conservative, I'd say 5 laps maybe, just to be safe. But, you know, you can push it out on 8 laps definitely, but you're going to start feeling the effects very soon. You know, we've got a lot of drivers again. I'm just caught up to the back of the pack. We're seeing Scarly, Curly, you know, could go back to the race director. Scarly, fresh mediums, Curly, fresh hards, Pixels in front of them too. Old hards. Then we've got Carbon and Jacobo on fresh hards as well there, and everyone else up at top is on used tyres. And just to note as well, Salmon Baker used mediums. Is this the play for him? I think he personally should have pit. He should have either gone on to another set of mediums or a set of hards and see what he can do, because, you know, again, this is a brutal race so far. We're seeing a lot of incidents.
Could be a very interesting restart, especially depending on the leader Mateo. Where he goes is going to be vital. I'd possibly say leaving it until roughly the line is where I'd be going if I was the driver. But there's a reason I'm not the driver and I'm not here in the commentary box.
I'd say, honestly, that is a good move, but at the same time, that does make you very, very predictable. Drivers are going to be bunched up behind you, ready for you to go as soon as you hit that line. As the safety car is about to come in,
Indeed.
We're going to see if your theory's right.
We'll jump up front to the leading Aston Martin. Obviously, if you leave it right up to the line before you go, you're giving yourself the most amount of time, or the least amount of time to get caught before turn 1. Go before that, though. Drivers behind you are going to be going a lot faster through that corner.
Staggering up at the back, we'll almost come to a complete stop here.
Going to be leaving out of the final corner goes Mateo, up to racing speeds again. No passing into the line, but it's not going to be any pass to that corner at this current stage, and it's a very good jump from Mateo. Decent fight, not catching up, but there's going to be a crash behind Harrison M.
He lost the rear.
In the rear through the corner, stealing it out of the wall so far. Jump back, see if there's any damage on that.
Definitely made contact with that wall though, so surprised he hasn't lost anything.
Trying to see any damage. There is a front right end plate missing off of that McLaren. Anyway, to the chat, do you hold competitions on F123? We're going to be ending this season on 22, and our next series, FVC2 Season 4, is going to be held on F123, along with Season 6 later on in the year. So we're ending off this season on 22, we'll be heading on to the next game very shortly. There's this round and one more to go after it.
Whoa, losing it on the curb almost. That was a bit sketchy from me. Getting a big run on Pixels here, going to move to the left, see what we can do, go around the outside maybe. He's pretty much given up that position, I think. He's not going to try and outbrake me. No, he hasn't.
Early braking for the Aston Martin, just trying to avoid yourself. Also coming up, it's going to be Broughton. Pixels unintentionally defending there through the final sector. It's going to be having a very terrible run. Broughton's going to go around the outside of the final corner, it looks like. Into the wall, though. Slight tap there. Everything looks to be fine on that Red Bull. No damage, I can see. He is up and ahead of the Aston Martin. No DRS for a couple of laps after the safety car restarts, so these drivers are going to be relying on pure slipstream. But you get that inbounds. Carbon making a move on to the Williams off Jacobo, or at least trying to, into turn 1. Pixels A3 playing for multiple warnings. Carbon just doesn't have the same exit grip as the Williams front end does, but he is much quicker in the top end, especially near the end of the straight. A little bit of a lock-up as 2x2 goes the two cars in front of him. Jacobo and Dorado trying everything he can. Much oversteer though from Jacobo, spinning round, caught on the front of Carbon. No damage for either car.
Going at it and just losing it on each other, getting stuck to each other with the infamous Codemasters glue effects that we have on these cars.
From what it looked like from my perspective on board of Carbon, Jacobo just a little bit too eager on the throttle, spinning it and then getting caught. Carbon with nowhere to go as that car came across him.
Making a move on Dorado up ahead.
It is contact between two cars, side pod to wheel. Carlos going to keep the inside line, heading over to El Dorado. He's going to be side by side through the stadium section of the circuit.
He's cut the corner to try and stay with her. It's not a good idea because he's now
3-second penalty for Dorado as well as a result of that. DRS is going to be enabled as well. Your board yourself going to be getting a good run up to turn 1.
Yeah, he's used up all of his ERS here. He's flashing red. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to wait till the last moment, push a little bit on the ERS, pull out and brake. Very, very late going into turn 1. Can we go around the outside? Yes, we do. Pretty good move. Block off the switchback and see if we can get a good run, because I want to try and keep with Scarlett here. Don't want to lose that 1 second now that I am within that. But better she's coming up to Salmon.
Better run than the Red Bull car anywhere behind you.
As Salmon goes really wide, he's ruined his line. It's going to be side by side with Scarlett going into sector 2 here. Is Scarlett going to make it stick? Is Salmon going to try a switchback? He tries, doesn't make it stick. He's struggling.
These drivers will try anything to make a move work. However, sometimes they can just push a little bit too over. You're, of course, right now behind him. We're going to be pushing the Predator on. Question in chat, these players using direct drive wheels only, they are not. We've got a number of drivers on wheel, but we have a number of drivers also using controller. Mixed bag throughout the field, easy pass there for Addy getting past Simon into the final sector of the track. As he run over the camera that I had looking up there on the corner.
Just wanted to give you a little kiss, you know? I somehow... Okay, there we go, there's the DRS zone.
It's a very late DRS, especially quite far off of the corner and even quite far away from the start line. Indeed, it is Azzy is joining me in the commentary with today, giving us a live drive as well as in the commentary from what she sees.
Yeah, you know, we're seeing Scarlett has mega amounts of pace right now. She's carving her way through the field, letting people make the mistakes, coming through without any issues at all. She's doing a brilliant job out here. We could see a definite podium fight with her coming up real soon, but I am catching her. You know, she is on those fresh tyres, but for some reason I feel like I have a lot of pace in these tyres, even though they are starting to feel a little bit old. You know, she's pushing definitely hard, kicking up a little bit of dirt as well. Through sector 3, feeling very strong here, able to get on the throttle a little bit sooner than she is, although she did actually get a little bit on me there. Made a little mistake, missed a few apexes.
Fair enough, and just to confirm there too, I'm not quite sure how to pronounce your name, I'm going to take a try at it, but Ariel Catranis saying hello to you, Azzy, as well as I am confirming that she is racing and commentating at the same time.
Multitasking at its finest, staying with Scarlett for DRS around this lap, which is ideal, actually gaining 2 temps on her this time as she is using her ERS definitely right now. She's trying to break the DRS from me. She knows I'm trying to just pull alongside her, really, just to catch that lead pack.
Heading over to the Red Bull Dorado, making a move from Carbon into turn 1. Broughton's also going to be right there behind, trying to take advantage of any move his teammate makes. Carbon definitely feeling the pressure, not very good lines through turn 1 and 2, getting a terrible run. Dorado trying to look for any way past, going to have another helping a DRS down into turn 4. Harvesting energy all the way, Carbon moves right, Dorado moves down to the inside. Carbon's going to stay there though, going to have the inside corner, or the inside line for the next turn. It'll be wheel to wheel, Carbon getting just pushed along through the corner by Broughton a bit. Nearly contact between the two teammates, Broughton just losing out to Curly as getting cut off nearly by his teammate, almost spinning as well. Not what you want to have two drivers there happen. Broughton's going to be catching up a lot though.
Takes some big risks now.
Tauri nearly cutting over the corner to try and get past the AlphaTauri driver.
Scarlett making some big mistakes. She's clattering every curb. I'm right up behind her. I can see the gearbox. I can see the cogs turning.
Dorado, 3 second penalty for multiple warnings. Will jump up to Azzy. Going to be having another helping a DRS into turn 1.
I don't think I will be making this move into this sector though, because honestly that second DRS zone is going to be where it's at. So saving the ERS, let her use up hers a little bit more. Get right up close to her in the braking zone here. Late apex through 1. Late apex through 2, and see if we get a good run coming out of the corner as she runs it a little bit wider than she would like. You know, we're going to use the ERS here. We're going to try and get the move done now. We know she's weaker in sector 3 compared to me. We're going to absolutely send it, try and squeeze her out onto that line. She's kind of made contact with me, shoved me off a little bit here. Try and stick it around the outside here. It's not really ideal to do, but we're going to get a good run hopefully. Nope, I'm on the curb. A little bit cheeky from Scarlett, but you know that's racing.
Racing indeed. There might be something of a little bit of rivalry between you two, especially considering what happened out in Canada last week. You think she might be fighting you a little harder because of that?
Probably not. You know, we still have a lot of respect for each other. She's a wonderful driver. She made a move that race that wasn't really on, but you know, we're all going to try and...
yellow flag, the Red Bull of Dorado goes out. As the safety car deployed again, lap 15 of 36. Very similar place to what happened to Rosenquist. We can't quite see, and we're not going to get a chance to see either before that car gets cleared away. But into the pits heads current leader Mateo, but Scarlett interestingly staying out. Move back over to our lap, or not our lap, our tyre details. Only a couple of drivers staying out. In this stage, you're just a roughly, not quite halfway, but about almost there. What do you think from this point onwards? What's the strategy call now?
So I've decided it's hards. Hards till the end. Because those mediums, they are starting to slip quite a bit. And when you start to slip on these mediums, they start to overheat really quickly. You want to use these hards till the end. Salmon's got the same idea as me. He's gone on to hards. It's possible. With the mediums, they're going to wear out so quickly now. The tap, it's gotten a lot hotter. It definitely has gotten a lot sunnier. The clouds are breaking. I think, honestly, hards is the way to go till the end. It's going to be a spicy ending of this race, you know.
Well, as we about halfway and under the safety car, let's take a look at our previous winners as well. The only previous winner in the league era of this track is the Alfa Romeo of Blah, currently sitting in 6th place. Definitely has the pace to win, especially if you don't make much more of an advance up the field, but he still has a couple of places to make as well. And if we head back to Season 2, Izzy Williams was the only other winner around the Mexico City circuit. Could we see a new winner, or do you think Blah will come through and take a very, very overdue win?
I don't know, because he has not pit. He's on mediums. He's going to have to make another pit stop. If he's running this to the end, that's brave. I don't know if he actually pit. Did everyone up ahead pit, or?
I believe Blah went in, but I'm not quite sure. The only one I'm certain that stayed out is Scarlet. I'll have to take a look at the detail again for Tyre. It is 1 lap old medium, so he did go into pit lane.
It's going to be very good. That's Blah's opportunity right here. You know, he's got everything here to win. He's on fresh mediums. He's a fast driver. He's in a rapid car. He's got everything to his advantage now. The only thing that's stopping him, we've got D7 up ahead. We've got Scarlet, who I don't know what she's doing up there. She didn't pit. She's on relatively used mediums. They're not going to make it to the end.
9 laps old. The top 3, as well as currently 13th, are the only 4 drivers to not pit.
I'm not sure, did Blah actually return to the lobby? Because so far it shows he is still in AI mode.
From what I can see, his car isn't ghosted, which is what we usually see under a car that is controlled by the AI. However, I'm not quite sure myself. Taking a quick look through the driver's channel, I don't see any messages from him saying he's disconnected and awaiting an invite.
I saw earlier he did disconnect, so he might still be out.
He did disconnect, but that car isn't ghosted. I will send over a quick invite, just in case. Because I know today's lobby is being hosted by a different person than usual, so might be worth just sending one over. It's entirely possible I might have missed...
Safety car coming in. Nope, he is back. He is confirmed to be back.
There we go. Safety car coming in, this lap confirmation from race control. It's going to be Scarlet in control of the pack this time. See what she does under this restart.
A lot of drivers dropping really slow way up. 30 mile an hour back here. That's a little bit frustrating. We're seeing a lot of bunching up here.
Staying on board with Scarlet, trying to look at the readings on the wheel. Under 60 mile an hour, I'm pretty sure, for the Alpine driver. Going out of the last corner. Around the safety car line, going to be going back to green flag. Going to be side by side, Curly and Jacoba. No overtaking to the line. Going to be sitting there until you can get released. Now, full throttle all the way up to the corner. Going to be on the inside line against the AlphaTauri. That's going to be made. There's a car heavily into the wall.
Salmon just turned into me on the straight. He just hit me. He literally just full hard turned right and crashed into me on the straight.
Jump over to our replay scene and see if we can see anything happening from that. There's going to... Oh, a call from race control yet. No safety car going to be out. Only a yellow flag. Not quite sure we've seen anything from stream there. But no safety car is going to be staying under green flag. Running away with a huge gap up the front is going to be Scarlet. As Curly gets a 3 template for multiple warning, also falling down the grid a little bit down to 4th from where he was.
I have no idea as to why Salmon did that. You know, we were going down the straight side by side with Thunder, and they just turned right on the straight, which is really weird to see. I've currently got the clip. I'm just going to review it real quick and have a little check and see what exactly happened there.
Well, you can always send it into the steward and we'll have a look at it after the race.
Yeah, he went for a gap that never existed. Unbelievable.
will definitely get reviewed after the race. Can't guarantee how fast it will be. It'll not be at the same pace as the previous incident you submitted. I can only guarantee that much. Thunderbird trying to take a look at any way past Curly. Curly running over the line a little bit, losing out to D765, as well as brought into a terrible corner exit for Thunderbird. Multiple cars are getting past him up into turns 4 and 5. It's a huge grouping of cars. Scarlet sort of running away from the lead, but from second all the way down to what looks like 8th place. They're all on top of each other. Running in single file, what they're going to be looking for any way past each other possible. Go up to the front. In fact, here we go. Might be a pass up at the beginning. Don't have any very currently getting past by decent spike. Very ambitious launch around the outside, but the Mercedes driver makes it stick, stays on track, and gets past the AlphaTauri driver. Broughton pushing nearly the car in front of him, ran the corner as Harbin on the outside. DRS enabled again for the 3rd time this race. Lap 20 of 36, 16 laps remain.
Jacoby going defensive. Matato, he's there. He's not following the slipstream. I think he believes that the straight up drag of that car is going to make it happen. He's looking up the inside. He's up the inside over the curb.
The battle up ahead. We're following
looking for
on.
a switchback.
And look at any camera we can.
The switchback is on. Gets a little bit of an okay run, but Jacobo using up the ERS again.
They're getting a better run though.
The outside line. Is he going to make it stick? Is it
going to be side by side? Going to stick around the outside. You'll have the inside corner for the next corner, but you're going to have disadvantage. That Mercedes is there. It's going to get a better run. D765 is going to be right on top of them. Mercedes just not able to get out of the corner at the same speed as the 2 cars in front of him. Hard on the brakes, nearly running to the back of the Williams.
Looking at the penalties right now, though, we're seeing Matato with 6, Jacobo with 6, D7 with 3. So we're going to see both them two, unless something insane happens. They're going to drop so far down the order.
Of course, running ahead up at front, 4 seconds worth of lead, and no penalties currently. The Alpine of Scarlet is just leaving this group. Of course, though, we have to bring up back in Season 4, she had roughly this amount of lead. It was in the final lap, but she did crash out of the race from the lead with 3.5 seconds of gap. Under DRS, D765 getting a much better run than Jacobo, easily passed into the first section. Helping DRS, just getting him a little further ahead. He's outside of a second of the Aston Martin in front, though. He's going to have to try and catch up just before that next zone. Otherwise, he's not going to be able to catch up as quickly as he'd like.
Charlie's pace seems to be dropping off massively, though. Matato catching up 1.3 on this lap alone.
Heading up to the Alpine. I don't see any damage on that car, so it's not going to be that. It is just the drop-off of pace. It is old medium tyres, though.
They're going to be really, really feeling it now, honestly. I don't understand why she didn't decide to pit. This is going to be a really, really, really bad move from her. I'm struggling to understand what the thought process was.
119.6 and then a 119.2 for D765 heading over the line. New fast lap of the race on the medium compound tyres. Those are much fresher tyres we see on the detail. 14 laps for Scarlet versus 6 for the 2nd and 3rd place runners. Now 4th place as well as Jacobo just falls another place down on those old hards. And down now, the closest battle is looking to be for about 9th or 10th place. It's going to be side by side for Blah and Thunderbird heading into turns 5 and 6. Thunderbird getting a better line through it on the inside than hanging out on the outside line. Blah in no cornering grip.
Although with how the race is looking right now, looking at the end, there's still a chance that Haas could win the team's title here with no cars finishing. If it stays how it is, if if JL doesn't pick up a penalty, Scarlet still needs to pit. this isn't going to be enough for them to outscore enough, because there needs to be they need to be within 44 points to actually wrap up. I did the maths. I actually did decide to do that. It took me a little bit though. 44 points is the gap. That is the threshold to stay in the team's title fight.
Of course, I'll bring up the standings. It's only going to be the drivers. I don't have a graphic for the team standings. But you can see yourself up there, 153 points. Uncatchable now after securing it last round out. Scarlet stays in the current position, which is honestly, looking at it, unlikely, as actually looking back, Potato is only 0.2 of a second off the back of that Alpine. There's going to be looking for anyway past Scarlet, getting a bit better of a corner exit on those old worn tyres. I say she's going to be using a lot of her energy though in a battery, just trying to stay ahead at this point. A little bit unstable heading through the S's and right on the back of her again, hitting her. Scarlet heading off.
Scarlet's out.
Broken front wing.
Carbon is off as well.
Broken front wing for Scarlet. It's going to be a full safety car out. I'd say this is going to be the perfect point. No cars going out, but broken front wing for that Alpine heading over to Carbon.
She needed to pit anyways. That's one thing to note. She had to pit. This is
Anyway,
going to cost her.
see, it's a broken front wing again for the McLaren of Carbon. That's 2 cars with broken front wings. I'd say there was flashbacks there in the cockpit of that Alpine to Season 4.
Definitely there. I mean, Carbon just had a Season 4 moment there as well. Went on that curve.
Staying out
it, lost
is
the front
Potato, D75 and Broughton.
They don't need to pit at this point. They can actually run these tyres to the end. Now that this safety car has come in, it has saved them. But this is opening up such an opportunity for Broughton.
We have
here.
seen the reverse of this with the fresher tyres catching up to them.
Definitely, I'd say we're going to have about maybe 10 laps to go at the end. What can they do in 10 laps? We can see the drivers, they're fighting so hard out here. They're giving it everything. They're throwing everything on the line as we get a little bit of a frustrated team's radio from Scarlet, which was piss off to a certain Aston Martin driver there. Very frustrated from them. I feel for them. They were in a good position here.
Interesting strategy call from Carbon here, heading onto the soft compound tyres.
It's a very, very bold call from Carbon. He might be costing McLaren there dearly, but he did also lose his front wing there as well. He has nothing to lose. We're seeing D7 questioning the strats of Matato as well here.
Drivers' channels are definitely lighting up. We can't see any of it on stream. We don't have a place to show it. Otherwise, we might get a couple of highlights. That might be something for the next couple of series to possibly bring into our broadcasts.
Jacobo stating that he was used to having so much grip on 23, which I don't blame him. I played a few races in F1 23, and I can't lie, I started to get used to it before I had to wrap myself back onto F1 22 before Canada.
Well, not long left to go in this game. Drivers
it's been painful avoiding F1 23.
I'd say
so I know what happened. I'll get too comfortable.
End of lap 25 is when I'm going to presume the safety car's coming back in.
Quite possibly, yeah. Looking at the gap of the cutters, we're going to see a 10-lap shootout right to the end. Matato is definitely going to have an investigation going forward into this race. It's unfortunate to see. He could have absolutely done it. He could have won this race, but a silly mistake, a silly incident. He could have definitely avoided that. But we'll have to see after the stewards' inquiries are done. We're seeing Jail Broughton again, bringing up to him no penalties. Just a note, no penalties. Penalties all behind, penalties all in front. He needs to keep it clean. I'm going to actually have a little look at the incident and see if we have anything from him.
No, it is definitely no penalties for Broughton. However, 9-lap old mediums, and he's close then. The only other car on track to not have one is going to be Scarlet. What's to note there, an interesting radio call from Jacobo asking his teammate if they are actually on the same team. I would have thought checking what team you're on as well as your teammate would have been the thing you checked at the start of the race. not 25 laps in. Safety car coming in this lap, the confirmation coming through from race control.
Now, I'm going to be watching Broughton here. Fresh mediums, okay? This is going to be interesting.
You say fresh mediums for Broughton, he's on 9-lap-old tyres. He didn't head into pit lane.
To me, that's fresh enough compared to the other drivers around.
Well, compared to the cars behind, it is 8 laps older.
Yeah, we've got 10 laps left. He just needs to hold on. He needs to stay with them. As Matato calls it early, D7 not getting exactly the best of runs as Pixels manages to get a 3-second time penalty on the restart. Broughton not getting the best start either. He's saved up that ERS nicely. He's not using it down the straight. Neither is D7, it seems. He's kind of holding back here. But if I give you a little rundown of the ERS, we're seeing 62 for Matato, 60 for D7, 70 for JL. He's got 10% more. As Jacobo is making a move on San and the two teammates having a little bit of a battle here. Is he going to stick it down the inside? No, some team orders were definitely in effect there as Jacobo makes it through. Salmon braking nice and early, making it as easy as he can as Jacobo runs out very wide onto there. Surprised that wasn't another warning.
Of course, if it gets repeated, it will be inquired about. I have no doubt about that, but Jacobo now free to try and even hassle anyone up at the top 3. He's got the freshest tyres of everybody. Salmon Baker, a 3-second penalty for multiple warnings.
E7 penalty.
That's all of the top 5 except for Broughton on 6
Broughton is
seconds.
loving it right now.
Just needs to keep himself in there.
Thunderbird
Thunderbird, another penalty. As there
Everyone's
is another
risking
yellow flag, that's going to be a
It's
Thunderbird.
Thunder.
So there is a lot
He's
of
left the session. He is
lag
not happy.
currently happening on my end. Leaving the session. No damage, it looks like, to that car, but definitely...
That's critical. He could have stayed in the race. He could have seen what would have happened. You know, Mercedes need every point they get here.
Running away off the top over a second with the gap's going to be Mateo, but that Mercedes is charging.
Oh, it seems to have been an incident with Curly as Thunder is very upset in the chat right now. Making sure that doesn't kick off real quick. Matato starting to run away with it. He's 9 tenths. 1 second clear. He's out of the DRS zone. He's going to be pushing like a stabbed rat here as Jacobo has made that move on Broughton as well. That is critical here. Broughton needs to stay on him as Matato runs off again.
Trying to go around the outside of Simon Baker, moving up into 5th place. That makes 2 drivers now up in the top 5 on the fresh tyres. Also comes Harrison M for the McLaren team. Simon Baker trying his best to defend to get any of his teammates as far up as he can, but it's just not going to work.
Currently, though, we're hearing that it's actually Thunder had hit Salmon. It wasn't actually Curly involved. This is a nightmare.
Driver's channel definitely kicking off a little bit there. Law taking a look around the outside of, not quite sure what turn that is, turn 13 I'm pretty sure. Getting ahead of Simon Baker, 118.989 for Mateo. First car into the 18s, DRS enabled. Again, lap 20 of 36 is not going to be long left in this race.
Scarlett has a mountain to climb here, but she is looking also very good. If she can get in front of Broughton here, she might be on for the win.
Is definitely possible. Just has to keep it within 6 seconds of the leader, and that is all she needs to take a win.
She has lost her teammate, though. This is really, really critical. She needs to not pick up a penalty. I'm going to actually have a check, see if she's had any incidents this race regarding warnings. 1, 2, she is on her final warning as we speak, so she's going to be driving. I'd like to think conservatively, but how it's looking, she is absolutely flying. Let's see through Sector 2 what she does.
Has to be careful though, that McLaren of Harrison M is going to be chasing, and if he catches, he's going to be trying to battle as hard as he can for Carbon to catch up as well.
Yeah, McLaren's really need to pull something out of the bag here to also stay in into contention here, as Mercedes not looking like they're going to be able to score enough points here. You know, 6 seconds penalties for D7 and Thunder also leaving the lobby with 11 seconds of penalties. It was not a good day for Mercedes at all.
Definitely could have been better, although there is definitely still hope up at that team. Of course, with Broughton and Scarlett on their last warnings, they could still get a penalty, and that would definitely ease it out a little bit for them, but at the rate they're getting them, I don't think we're going to be seeing as much penalty for those 2 cars as the front 3. Harrison M taking a look at Scarlett, trying to make any way work, not having enough. Scarlett nearly cutting off the McLaren. heading through turn 2.
Oh, this is going to be a spicy battle. Harrison not getting the best run out, but he has 9% of ERS left. Well, if we look at Scarlett, she has 20%. Harrison has been pushing, and I mean pushing as he locks up going into the chicane.
Jumping up into the battle for second place, Jacobo sitting a purple first sector, fighting really hard against the Mercedes D75. Car coming onto screen, basically sideways. He's going up into position. He's going to head ahead of D765.
Very, very smart from D7 to back out there. You know, you don't want to go side by side in this sector as he's throwing it through the last 2 sectors there.
Pressure tire is definitely coming into effect for the Williams driver.
Jacobo and D7 though critically almost out of ERS. This is going to be a pure DRS battle going into here. Can D7 get a good run as Pixels picks up another penalty? I really regret saying that he was going to pull some wonders out this race because I feel like I've jinxed him.
Well,
as
whatever's happened, he's got
inside.
up to 12 seconds total penalty for Pixels there.
D7 has used all of his ERS here. He's still using his ERS with 0%. Bravery.
That's definitely an interesting thing going on there. I'm not quite sure how you're using something that doesn't exist, but not going to question it. This is a F1 game
He's
after all.
locked in. He's focused. He wants that position. He's giving it everything he has. He doesn't want to lose that DRS as he's using the DRS again. I would not do that if I was him. I would have been conserving because I'm pretty sure Jacobo would have been doing the same. And he has been conserving his ERS through this lap so far. So this is going to leave him at a massive advantage going onto that straight once again. You know how long it is. You know, DRS not exactly the strongest in this game. It's all about that ERS. And when you do have DRS, that's the only time I feel it's effective is when you're using that overtake button. As Jacobo absolutely leaving him through Sector 2. D7 running off wide again. That's probably another warning.
Possibly is. A little bit of a wobble as well over the curbs, if I'm seeing that correctly.
Critically again, JL and Scarlett, no penalties still.
Penalties, but they are definitely going to be getting close to it. And of course, the harder they push at the end of this race, with only like 5 or so laps remaining, going to be getting ever so closer to getting that penalty.
Yeah, D7's using everything he has. He's trying desperately to stay in DRS, but I feel it's inevitable at this point. Jacobo is just chilling up there. He's used a little bit. He's on 9% now. But at the end of the day, you're going to want to be using as much as you can. You want to break the DRS down here. It's nice. It's a good comfort zone because once you break DRS, you know you're out of slipstream. Slipstream is 7 tenths on this game. Critically, he's hitting the curbs a little bit hard there. This is a very exciting battle going up for the podium positions here as Scarlett is now closing in 1.019, now within a second. Is she going to be thinking about the championship? Is she going to be thinking about that team? So is she going to want to play it safe? Is she going to want to push? She knows every point is critical here, especially being down in P5. This is not enough to stay in the battle for that title. She needs to make the move. She needs to get in front of JL here.
Of course, she needs to get anything she can, but that Season 4, as well as the little scare earlier on, is definitely going to be playing in her mind a little bit. And overall, it's better take a few less points than none at all. Simon Baker disconnecting from the session, down in 11th place.
I think he might have absolutely just left there. He doesn't usually disconnect, so I think that was just a complete leave of the lobby. 4 laps to go, 6 seconds penalty. He's 11 seconds back from Pixels. I think he has his chances done there.
We'll just have to wait and see if the driver's channel lights up requesting an invite back, then we'll send one his way. Otherwise, that's going to be his race pretty much over for him. Jumping on board with D75 is sort of staying around that half-second mark.
He's closed in, definitely.
With these older tyres, getting very close to the back of that Williams through the corners.
I think he's found his momentum here. He's found the comfort zone. Maybe Jacobo's pushing a little bit too hard here, making a few mistakes. Kind of missing the apex through there, running over that curb. Not ideal, but I'm guessing he's running traction because he has to be if you're doing that.
Not sure which of the drivers are and which aren't. I know quite a decent amount, just the way this game works, are running the traction control systems.
I'm the hardcore veteran here.
Yeah, running none of it. Just while this is calming down a little bit, is the traction control systems in the next game, does it actually make you slower, or do you think it's still going to be a thing for competitor driving?
I feel that they do make you slower, to be honest. You know, medium, it still bogs you down out of those gears, especially full track control very much bogs you down out of corners. I've been running with no assist. I think the only assist that really is going to make you faster is ABS. I mean, ABS on feels very, very nice in that game. Weirdly enough, you don't get any of that rear locking as we've seen that's been implemented. Again, medium is bearable, but it's not ideal. I think if everyone starts to learn how to run track control with the 23 game, how it feels, it's more than easy enough. As Scarlett, he makes the move on Broughton. Broughton's not really fighting it too much. As Harrison is there.
Harrison M is going to be there. It's a purple first sector for the McLaren.
He's flying.
He's going around the outside.
He's done the switch back on Broughton. What a move. He's going to be looking for Scarlett here as well. He wants to get in front of her.
I am very surprised he's kept that in track limits.
It was a legal overtake. He gave it in.
I thought I seen that car go over the white line, and I'm very surprised if he didn't go over it. But indeed he did. However, also notice Carbon's going to be right there as well.
This is what
very ambitious dive, going to be nearly spinning it into the start of the third sector. Rear end got unstable, but he kept it going in a straight line.
Broughton, I think he still has DRS here.
We'll have to wait and see. It's a long way to the DRS zone. And the Red Bull indeed does. The wing opens.
He's used up all the ERS. He needs to stay with Scarlett as Scarlett gets another 3-second time penalty.
M, you might be having a look at any move he can make on the Red Bull. Pulling out a little bit, it's going to be diving from far back. Getting cut off just a little bit by the Red Bull of Broughton. Very sideways off the corner as he lets Carbon go by.
Maybe some team play going into here. He's really, really let Carbon fly past.
See how it pans out. Not long left to go, about 2.5 laps, really. Scarlett is going to be right on the fringes there. It's really close to that 6-second barrier up at the front, so
6.3 right now. 6.1. She needs to keep it clean. She needs to make 0 mistakes. As she hits the curb very hard there.
Take it over to a leader gap instead of intervals, as we see. Needs to be within 6 seconds to take the win here. As it stands, Potato, even with that 6-second penalty, will be taking a win. However, 2 laps remaining.
I will be absolutely surprised to see if Aston managed to pull a win. This has been an insane season.
Aston definitely early on were some of the underdogs coming into the season. Pixels down in 10th place. Not had the greatest of results so far, and I'm not sure the second driver, I'm pretty sure, is Sass this season for the Aston Martin team.
It's getting spicy up ahead though. D7 and Jacobo starting to fight here a little bit harder. Jacobo has saved up a fair bit of ERS. I think he's got like 8% more than D7 currently is. There's a spin behind.
For the McLarens.
It's Carbon. I think
Potato, 3-second penalty for multiple warnings. That puts Scarlett back up into contention for the win.
She needs to not get a penalty.
Just keep it on track between the white lines. Completely just one more time around for that Alpine driver to take the win at the Mexico circuit. But it is still entirely possible. Another yellow is for a McLaren again. I'm pretty sure of Harrison M. Over to this battle. It's the close 2 cars on track.
To the final lap. Potato has absolutely thrown it away. He had everything here. He just needed to keep it on the track, and he's managed to get that other 3 seconds.
Comes the Alfa Romeo Pla heading to the left-hand side of turn 1, easily past the McLaren of Harrison M. McLaren was harvesting energy about halfway down the straight, so going to be going slower. Plus the no DRS easily made that over to ET, but he's not giving up. Back past the Alfa Romeo, heading through sector 1. It'll be side by side into the next corner though. Pla going to be on the inside. Better run through the outside. Nem, much better drive through the corner. Of course, fighting over track. They both have penalties, but they are both at 3 seconds, so it might just come down to depending on who has more warnings if they run over. Of course, just getting a confirmation from Pixels. This would have been Greemer's first win had he not thrown it away. Crosses the line provisionally on first. E75 whips up on track.
There it is. Scarlett coming to take the win. What a drive from her. Kept it clean, kept it on the
Moving
track
up
the
into
whole
second
time.
is Broughton. That's going to be another P3 finish for Matato. This 4th ever. He could have had the win, but that final penalty just thrown it away. Being down to that battle, it's going to be Harrison comes out the better of the 2 second worth of gap between Harrison and Blah. That is looking to be it, unless whatever happened to Carbon having an incident coming around the final section. Very slow moving for that car, not quite sure what's happened there. Probably just trying to let Pixels get points. He crashes before the line.
I'm going to be crunching some numbers real quick.
But
Scarlett deserved that drive of the day, in my opinion, and even
definitely
in the app,
did,
if you
and
guys check the app and vote, I'd say your vote should go to Scarlett. That was a stunning,
Indeed, we'll
stunning drive from her.
bring up the results app now on the screen, the right hand side there. The invite code is on the screen now, and your app is available on all app stores, whether you're on iOS, Android, or anything else. Get yourself signed up, you can vote for your drive of the day. The voting will be open very soon once results are put in. A very good drive and redemption for Season 4. The Alpine of Scarlet 42 wins the Mexico City Grand Prix in the 2023 Summer Series. Second place heads to the Red Bull of Broughton, and third for the 4th time running is going to be Matato 50. It's definitely a race of ups and downs. Got a little bit quiet to the end, some battles around the track, but others were definitely a bit quieter. What do you make of that race, Azzy? Any specific highlights from you?
A blinder of a race. That's what we love to see in FVC. That is an absolutely brilliant one. There was drama everywhere. You just couldn't miss it. There was everything happening. Crashes, battles, just you name it. It was happening. Intense strategy options. And I've just done the maths. It was 44 points needed to stay in contention for the team's title. Alpine have managed to get the closest with 49 points. So that is the team's title. Should be wrapped up now.
We have it Haas winning the team title. Scarlett took the win for Alpine, but it just wasn't enough. First place for the Alpine of Scarlett. Second goes to Broughton, and third to Matato. 4th and 5th goes to D75 and Matato. 6th, 7th goes to Harrison M and Blah. Curly in 8th, Pixels 9th, and Carbon in 10th.